Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Friendship Pearson, and welcome again to my channel. It is August 13th. August 13th. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I have 7:12 in the p.m. Pray you guys are having a great day. All aboard. All aboard. I mean, all aboard, all accounted for. And where are we going? Where is the voyage taking us to? Should we have gotten on this ship, or should I say the Trump train? I want to go backwards, and then I want to bring it forth. And like I've said before, many times you got to go back, build a base so you can see, have perspective, then you move forward, and it's clear. I'm assuming a lot of you guys lived through that Jimmy Carter era. You know, that period where, like the alarm going off, right on time. Well, we first heard the word stagflation. Stagflation is high unemployment and the cost of living. I'm gonna say it again. Back in the 70s, when Jimmy Carter was president, we learned of a word called stagflation. Had never heard of it till then. And they said it's a combination of high unemployment as well as high prices. What if I told you we're here again? And they're just not telling you. They're just not telling you. And the media is once again, in my humble opinion, complicit with it. But every now and then, somebody comes up and they tell the truth and they're scoffed. They're made to look like they're not trustworthy. I did a video a few weeks ago about a statistician. She worked for the Federal Reserve, and she came out with the new numbers. And Trump was all furious, saying, "Look, this is the same lady that I had a question about with the poll numbers back in the day." But she was talking about the correction, and I threw that video out there, like, wow, how could they miss it by that much? But she's standing by her numbers, saying, look, the jobless rate, the amount of people losing jobs, it's going up. Trump's like, no. Time out. That's not true. But if you just think logically, we just had Doge. Maybe I should have used the other hand. We just had Doge. And tariffs had just started. So if someone wants to argue and say, well, the economy is getting better because we took care of our waste, fraud, and abuse, and now we got the tariffs and the money's coming in, people, you know, it takes months. I don't claim to be a financial expert, but I listened to a lot since the 70s. It takes a few quarters, if not at least 9 months, to have a ripple effect in the economy. We've got what? I don't know, the first or second biggest economy in the world. It takes time to get a hold of that Gila monster and get it under control and trained. So if Trump is trying to get the impression that things have gotten better, that's a falsehood. The lady came out with true numbers, in my humble opinion, because that's an accurate reflection of what Doge just did. But Trump, he fired her. Come on, man. He fired her. That doesn't take care of what the truth is. And I'm sure it made more people look at things with a more clear perspective. Like I said, you got to go back before you go forward. But I ain't even went way back yet, because I want to bring you back from the late 70s to now. Trump is relying on the media, the people that benefit from the scare that he does. I'm gonna have tariffs on Mexico. Oh, nope. I'm gonna have tariffs on China. Oh, maybe only half of that. Have you noticed that every time he does that, the market fluctuates? That if you knew up front that this was gonna go on, you could place a stock bet? Holla. Pearson, what are you saying? I'm just putting it out there, because the numbers are there. They got to sell this thing as they destroy this thing. Back in January 25 of 1980, I wrote this article, Making America Strong. Now, I had no idea that strong would convert into the, I'm just smiling. I never thought that Making America would then be attached on to great, but I said it back in the day. I said, make America strong. Trump's like, we're gonna make it great. That was 45 years ago I wrote this article. I guess I'm telling my age. I said, quote, almost 2 weeks ago while driving down a road, I saw the biggest American flag I'd ever seen. As I watched Old Glory moving in the wind and sunlight shining off the flagpole, I began to feel a little bit more patriotic and a little bit more grateful for being an American and on American soil. Once I passed the scene, I could still picture that huge flag waving and the sun shining off the flagpole. I began to think about the flag and what it represented, what this symbol stood for. Suddenly I had this sobering thought. How long will it wave? How long will America stand? I'm not kidding you. Look at that. I want to highlight it for you, because this is now. I had this sobering thought. How long will it wave? How long will it stand? That's the question I asked back in the day. That was 45 years ago, after seeing the biggest American flag I had ever seen. And now we're here. Well, in April 20th of 1979, I wrote this. April 20th of 1979, Inflation and American Dream. The other day, while thumbing through a book I read years ago, I noticed a unfinished rhyme printed on the inside cover. A part of the rhyme states, quote, I remember when cotton candy was a nickel and pop was a dime and peace was not hard to find, unquote. Yes, I must admit I'm the author of this rhyme. I also confess that I still remember those days when a quarter's worth of candy could fill my two front pants pockets, shirt pocket, and my mouth all at the same time. Imagine this. a quarter. This is April 20th of 1979, and I said back in the day that I confess I still remember those days when a quarter's worth of candy could fill my 2 front pants pockets, my shirt pocket, and my mouth all at the same time. Yeah, boy, back in the day, you guys remember, what was it, Ben Franklin? And they had penny candy back in the day? Put in the comment section, we got a lot to tell the younger people. They had you can't even buy what can you buy with a quarter these days? Think about it. It's taken me a while to accept the fact that I must pay more and more for the same amount of items. I might add that many items are of lesser quality than in the past. And I'm gonna highlight this because I want you to see this too. I want you to share this. Look at that. I'm complaining that I'm spending more money to buy this candy. A quarter now, a quarter. I'm crying because it costs more than a quarter. Well, not only has candy gone up, but just about anything one can name has increased in price. The American dream has been, for many years, a nice home, 2 cars in the garage, a couple of vacations a year, a satisfying job, and money for those rainy days in our lives. Everyone doesn't achieve or inherit wealth or isn't a well-to-do as others. People from all over the world have come to this land of freedom and prosperity to become a part of a country where one can become a millionaire or just a laborer who wants to be able to live comfortable for years to come. Then on April 27th of 1979, I wrote another one, Inflation and American Dream. See that? See that date right there, April 27th? So that was a week afterwards. So I guess that was part 2, right? Now people, Jimmy Carter was president at the time. And again, I had never heard the word stagflation, but it gave me pause, as I'm sure it gave many of you all who lived during that period. And did I mention the gas lines too? Oh man, that was a rough time. But ask yourself now, when you take away the gas problem that we had back in the day, waiting hours for gas, some places 4 to 5 blocks long, waiting on gas to pump it. If you take that out of the scenario and just look at the economy, I'm sure you would love that economy, wouldn't you? Now I said, now that I've accepted the fact that increased inflation is with us, I am convinced that not only is the American dream in jeopardy, but because of the inflation and American dream, for many people has become a nightmare. A nightmare. This is a statement taken from my last week's article, Inflation and American Dream, in which I explain many views in relation to how inflation affects the people. A couple of weeks ago, President Jimmy Carter expressed to the nation that, quote, the energy crisis is real, time is running short, unquote. The president also stated, quote, Americans must use less oil and pay more for it, unquote. And if that wasn't enough to disappoint you, to put it lightly, then take heed to other statements made by our president. Quote, if the oil crisis isn't taken seriously, then gas stations will close on weekends. And America could see gas shortages by early summer. You know, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I love me a good pork chop. And about 4 months ago, I had to make a serious decision about cooking. So I rarely use my broiler, because being that it's just me and my son, because he comes over maybe 25, 30% of the time, People, I'm telling you, a $400 gas bill, that's crazy. For two people, it ain't like I keep the lights going on all day. The computer's on about half the day. But I had to do a test in the house for a few months. And sure enough, when I stopped cooking them pork chops, my gas bill went down 65%. The affordability, you think it logically. If I don't go out to eat, I can save money. But when you cook, come on, man. You can't win for losing. And I ain't feeling that bologna and cheese thing every day. Come on. Now, I want you to listen to something. I want you to listen to this here.
American people, to his own supporters, to swing voters, frankly, to all of us, that he would be the one who would make things cheaper and make all of our lives easier. He would lower prices. He would drive down inflation. He would drive down the national debt. He would make things more affordable. But the reality is that prices are high and people are struggling more than ever to get by. A lot of that having to do with the crisis he created, tariffs. They're creating major chaos and confusion and adding to higher costs and economic anxiety. Those costs are now expected to go even higher. Take the latest inflation report and analysis from financial experts that came out yesterday. The consumer price index rose 2.7% on an annual basis in July, which was actually unchanged from the month before and less than expected. That's the good news. But about the report, CNBC finds this, quote, there were worrying signs under the surface, including evidence that Trump administration policies are stoking inflation for certain goods and services, economists said. Those effects will likely become more pronounced later this year, they said. Mark Zandi, chief economist of Moody's, says this, quote, the tariff and immigration effects aren't screaming at us, but they're certainly speaking very loudly. And over the next couple months, they'll start yelling. Not a good sign for the already more than 80% of Americans who are stressed about the price of groceries right now in either a major or minor way. A brand new poll by the Democratic group Emily's List goes deeper into those economic anxieties.
If you want to know the truth and you do your due diligence, it's diametrically opposed to what Trump is saying. I had to compare it to Jimmy Carter. And I had to give you context in terms of what I saw in 1978, 79, 1980. And I said, make America stronger again. When I said, suddenly, I had this sobering thought, how long will it wave? That is the flag. How long will America stand? Trump fired the statistician a few weeks ago, Federal Reserve. I understand there's a rumor out that he wants to fire Jerome Powell. I'm not sure if that's even possible. Everybody's the fall guy, but him. People, the tariffs are on us. Trump's the setup man. He's trying to give the impression that this thing is going to work. You heard the analysis. He ain't fooling nobody. But why is Congress complicit in it? The numbers, they're screaming. I want you to hear this here from a lady who goes grocery shopping, who has to work a second job now.
To pencil, I was totally shocked by that sticker price.
I've had to take on a second job just because everything has gotten so expensive.
I always grew up thinking about the stereotypical American dream where you own a house and you have a yard to play And I think that dream is dying.
I think that dream is dying. And I asked the question 45 years ago, how long will America stand? You know, sometime in life you think you know, but you just don't know. You think that you understand, but you really don't. You think it's bad, but you ain't seen nothing yet. Those times with Jimmy Carter were a foreshadow for now. The salaries of that moment were not keeping pace with the moment, and you had the gas. I call it a manufactured gas shortage. But arguably, things haven't changed. Because whether there's scarcity on gas or gas going up, what difference does it make? The affordability is the question. Trump isn't making America great. He's running it into the ground. So look for more people to be fired. Look for more people to take the fall. Look for more shootings and robberies and WAR and false, you know what, to keep you distracted. More racial issues that come up in the news 3 or 4 days a week. The civil rights leaders out there, it's camouflaging and smoke screening the situation. But you and I know that Mr. Born Again, Jimmy Carter, versus Make America Great, Donald J. Trump, he talked a good game. But just like that generation, we're losing. It's a playbook. It needs a salesperson. And whether you believe what I'm saying or not, I gave you the receipts. Believe this. Donald J. Trump will not be here when it all comes out of the wash. He's 79 years old. They play roles for specific times. Then they adios. He'll be somewhere golfing, chilling out, high-fiving everybody. I saw something on the internet today about how many billions of dollars his family has made. Come on. They got themselves set up. I guess I'll go get in the car and look for that flag. Speak to it again. Reminisce. Just reminisce. And experiment with a mad doctor. Thank God for Jesus.